Countdown to Halloween. I'm Jeff Owens from ClassicHorrors.club. Yesterday we discussed film genres in general. Today let's talk about the real reason we're here, the horror genre. Film genres draw upon genres from other forms. The horror film draws upon and reworks content from Gothic literature. It's proven in contemporary times to have a commercial life all its own. But, like most other genres, horror is far from cohesive or consistent. It exists as a provisional grouping of films subject to significant alterations as the requirements of the market change. In this way, horror is used as a marketing term, but it is also a somewhat embarrassing and vulgar word that evokes a crude bodily sensation that stands at some distance from the higher feelings culture is meant to instill in us. Horror is meant to elicit fear and terror. No wonder people look at us funny when we say we like horror movies. You're watching what many consider to be the first horror film, the 1896 French short film from Georges Méliès, The House of the Devil, also known as The Haunted Castle. In its 3-minute running time, Mephistopheles conjures a variety of supernatural characters from a magic cauldron. Some guidelines for assigning a movie to a genre depend upon the intention of the filmmaker. So we must ask, did Méliès intend to scare the audience? If so, it's a horror film. I don't like these guidelines. They're too restrictive, and sometimes the intentions of the filmmaker just aren't clear. I think of The Exorcist from 1973. Director William Friedkin insisted he did not intend to scare anyone or to make a horror film. He thought it was a drama about the mystery of faith and the conflict between good and evil. It was only after he saw audience reactions to the content that he reluctantly admitted it functions as a horror film. This suggests that viewers determine the genre of a film instead of the makers of the film. And that makes sense. I mean, we're talking about assigning categories or labels to films. We are doing that, not the people who made them. Back to Méliès. I don't think he intended to scare us with The House of the Devil. If anything, it seems that he wanted to fascinate us, or to inspire wonder with new technology in the early days of cinema. However, it deals with the supernatural and features skeletons, ghosts, bats, and the devil. Those are characteristics that we, in 2025, associate with a horror film, so we can look back and say, oh yeah, it's a horror film. Remember, in simple terms, genres are collections of similar films. And in 1896, there were no genres because there were very few films of any type. Genres are born and they develop over the years as there are enough films made to create a collection. Here's where the genre game begins. I bet some people don't believe The House of the Devil is a horror film. We all know that a group of people rarely agree on anything, much less the genre of a film. For example, Jaws. Is it a horror film? Some confidently insist that it is. But my opinion sometimes waffles. At a certain point in the movie, it feels more like an adventure. Of course, it can be both, but I must tell you, back when I owned video stores, I laid awake at night trying to decide if I should put Jaws in the horror section or the action section. We'll talk more about that later, but for now, if The House of the Devil is a horror film only in retrospect, what was the first real horror film? I have an opinion, and I'll share it with you tomorrow. See you then.